back to Declare Your Independence of me, Ernest Hancocker in Phoenix, Arizona, IA from the BEA Beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. Ooh, my fast must be making my voice better. Oh, yeah, that's right. You know, we're waiting on Jeff. He's rebooting his computer because, Skype. So, anarcho-capitalist libertarian freedom fighter against mankind's two biggest enemies, the state and the central banks. Jeff Berwick is founder of the Dollar Vigilante, CEO of the Dollar Vigilante Media and Services, and host of the popular video podcast, Anarchast. Jeff is a prominent speaker at many of the world's freedom, investment, and gold conferences, including his own, Anarchapulco, as well as regularly in the media, including CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox News, and we just saw him at the Texas Bitcoin Conference where he had something to say about something. I've opened it up. We had today, first we had Joseph Wang on from CryptoHWWallet.com on these hardware wallets. A couple weekends ago, right before the big giant, conversion was going on, that Sunday, Monday, I think it was, I sent Roger Ver an email. I go, man, I can see what's going on here before it went stupid, and the $19 transaction fees. And I go, yeah, I can see what's going. You need to come on. Let's talk about it and kind of whatever. And I haven't heard back. But we preempted it we kind of foresaw it, maybe a day. We're going, and we waited until people could come in and we do all our hardware wallets, and we had a couple of dozen guys and some of the experts there helping and making sure and explaining, and you're going table to table to table, a group of people, and it was interesting, and we got right in the middle and we got to see it up close and personal. Then we have in the last hour Alessandro Fusillo from Italy. He's going to be speaking at the Freedom Summit in early February, and has law offices in Madrid, in Berlin, and in Rome. And he has a real good vision on this Catalonia thing. So we see secession of individuals with money, secession of peoples from countries. We see, the collectives trying to maintain everybody. And behind it is always central bank of, whatever, as long as you're going through our fork, goldmansucks.gov coin, and we'll get you, sooner or later. So the reason that I wanted to have you in this mix is that there is a philosophical battle going on, and I'd like to have you describe what that is, where it's happening, to what degree, and the future of. Go. You got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right. I guess one thing I can say is that I've been surprised how quickly Bitcoin's sort of been co-opted in many ways. I didn't think it would happen this fast or this easily. And not to say that it's been 100% co-opted, but there's definitely a lot of people trying to move it away from the initial idea of Bitcoin, of it being a currency, of it being cheap to use, of it being fast. There appears to be quite a few people who have quite a bit of power in the Bitcoin community who are pushing for Bitcoin to be expensive and slow for some reason, and whatever the reason might be. And so, yes, there's definitely a bit of a battle going on. And the biggest issue is a lot of these techies don't necessarily understand things like economics or money or marketing or anything like that. They just understand code. And as a person who used to run a tech company with a lot of techies, and as much as I love them, if you let them run the company will be destroyed instantaneously because techies don't have any idea about anything except for tech and code and stuff like that, which is great, and you absolutely need them. But when you have them sort of running the show with things like Bitcoin, and they don't know why you would want it to be fast, or don't know why it's important that it be not too expensive to use, then you have what's going on today and the battle that has just begun.
That's one thing that we were hoping to have influence with the letters of Mark and our Captain Mark's view on crypto and money and so on. This is the impact that we have in the education of the technical guys. Because when you go, like we were at the Texas Bitcoin Conference, and I can see all these tech guys, they're just, whatever somebody pays me to code. You want me to do that? Yeah, I can do that, and you'll give me money. Well, if you can get in their head and understanding of the philosophy, turn them into libertarians or, the value of peace and freedom and independence of individuals, then maybe they'll code that or make an off-ramp to it. Or this is how they rule us, but I did this over here, which is what has happened with the altcoins. Oh, welcome back to Declare Your Independence of me, Sorry to say I got Jeff Berwick, kind of an independent declaring kind of individual, but I need to have, I like this part. Oh, okay. But what we want to do is understand the philosophy behind what's happening. That's the one thing that cryptocurrency was supposed to do, is to, free us from they, them, those, and we can just do what we want and between people and none your business. Well, when it shows that you can do that, and that it does it well, and it does it cheap, and does it fast, and they're like, oh, hell no, you're not allowed to do that unless you got permission slip from. So who's the big winner in all that? I mean, a lot of big winners and so on, but the guy that I just got to give a hat tip to going into the future was Eric Voorhees with Shapeshift. He goes, yeah, whatever. You're going to be doing whatever, and you need an exchange to go between and whatever, and, maybe GovCoin and all the others. And if you have that exchange being able to happen and it not be any kind of fiat, well, Switzerland don't care. They just like, yeah, peace out, man. You're just trading monopoly money. It doesn't make any difference that we don't have a law. Well, the thing is that they're going to make a law, just like the IRS went into a Swiss bank account, don't mean nothing anymore. It used to be you had this kind of thing with a safe deposit box or a Swiss account, and all the spy movies, you can just go in and get it, and nobody knew, and there's none to business. And God, no, you got to get it under control. Well, crypto, for the same reason, they got to get it under control. Who the hell are they? I just wanted Jeff, help me out, man. Who are they?
Well, it's the people who control the central banks, the many different names for them, the global power elites, the Illuminati, any sort of names you want to make for them. The kind of people who generally go to things like Bilderberg, but it's not even those sort of people. It's way bigger than that. But generally it's the people who are controlling the world today, and they control the central banks. They control virtually every government. They control almost all the mainstream media. They control most industries. These are and you don't know their names necessarily. These are very, very, very shadowy sort of families that have been doing this for centuries. And the root of their power is actually the money system. So everything I just mentioned that they control it all because they control the central banks. And if they lose control of money or the central banks, or if central banks become obsolete because of things like Bitcoin, they lose pretty much everything. And these people are incredibly power hungry. They're not necessarily trying to get more rich. They're already trillionaires 100 times over. And many of them have quoted, there's been the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and people like that have quoted in the past that they don't really want to actually own anything, but they want to control everything because it's actually all about power. These people, as far as I can tell, are incredibly fear-based and and live in a very sort of a part of the mind that is very sort of lizard-like, almost like all they know is fear and hate and fight and fight or flight sort of a thing. That's all they really know, but they're incredibly intelligent at the same time. So they do not want to lose control of the money system, obviously. So Bitcoin's the first thing that's come out that really challenges that dominance. And for the first few years, they did not know what to do. For the first few years, they were just flailing around. You'd see all sorts of governments doing all kinds of things, saying it's illegal or it's not illegal or maybe we'll regulate it and all this sort of thing. They're still doing that to this very day. But in the last few years, they've become quite a bit smarter, and they've seemed to have figured out some ways to kind of get in there and slow down at least things like Bitcoin. And by that, I mean that they've gotten involved. They've gotten a company called Blockstream, whose sole purpose, by the way, of Blockstream is if Bitcoin is slow and expensive, they have an app for that. They have products for that. So they actually have an incentive to make Bitcoin slow and expensive. Blockstream is partially owned by AXA, the big insurance giant. The same person who was the CEO of AXA was the CEO of Blockstream. He also was the chair of the Bilderberg Group.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Well, I remember that's one reason why I wanted to have you on is I heard you, I think you were on Corbett or something. I saw you in another interview and you mentioned this because I've been going this Blockstream thing, them paying for, but because it went from like volunteers and then we need to get paid and then it went to MIT and that's like, yay, center of the beast, starting right there. Then you go, all right, well, they're funded by Blockstream, and it comes to these different groups, and it was going to be the Bitcoin Foundation, and they had their own problems. I mean, it always, once I found out and I could understand that there is a core development team, and they go, well, it doesn't matter because you have to have the approval of all the other miners and the people, blah, 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 and I'm going, what's the market cap on Bitcoin? Even after a big, giant, super run-up, what is it right now? I don't know, 150, 160 billion. Chicken shit money, okay? When you're the central banking, if I want to control the universe and I got a threat with 160 billion, that ain't nothing, man. I just go buy it, you know? So this is what's happening, and they're getting the core development under this Blockstream thing. And then you go, all right, it's a company that owns that, as you said, some insurance. I just remember you saying something about there was a Bilderberger guy that was in on Blockstream, but I didn't know he was like chairman of some Bilderberger. What? What's his title he had?
His name's Henry DeCastries. He was the chairman and CEO of AXA. He also was, I'm trying to look it up right now for exact numbers, but he was, in 2010, he served as chairman of the Bilderberg Group Steering Committee, and he did it again in 2017, so this year. And he also is involved in Blockstream. Yeah. He's one of the biggest sort of investors in Blockstream. So,
okay, now people need to understand, we're just talking about Blockstream. Is that Bitcoin? I mean, what Blockstream has what influence on Bitcoin? What is their penetration into Bitcoin?
Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit sketchy or sort of hard to say for sure, because as we know, Bitcoin sort of has, it's sort of very democratic, but in a good way. It's not forcing it on people. It's if people want changes, if enough people want it, there will be those changes made to Bitcoin. But it appears that a lot of the Bitcoin core programmers, not all of them, but quite a few of them, all seem to work now for a company called Blockstream, and that's that company that is essentially owned by the Bilderberg guy. So, you know, they have all these coders they're working, and I mentioned before, Blockstream, their sole thing is that if Bitcoin is slow and expensive, they have things, they have side chains that can help and that sort of thing, and they can make profit on that. So they already have an incentive for Bitcoin to be slow and expensive just from the get-go. And then when you sort of see who's in control of that company, you can sort of start to think, okay, so the elites have found a way to kind of weasel their way in somewhat, at least to some extent. Now, I don't know all the
if they
Bitcoin
can,
coders.
They will. That's my. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Can they? Well, if they, I go, then that's how they're going to do it. You can go back and listen to shows, 6, 7 years ago. Now I'm going, can they? Well, they'd have to this and they have to that. I'm going, okay, well then that's what they'll do. Why wouldn't they do? Oh, that'd be too hard and too, expensive? Too much computing power you'd need? Too much will, too much thought, too much what? What are you, stupid? So to me, so the battle with Bitcoin Cash, just because they increase the block size, now that has a temporary solution, but I'm going, if it becomes Visa, if you're having a whole bunch of transactions, then how would that be any different? All of a sudden, I'm seeing what's going to happen. All of a sudden, you're going to see it reach its limit. Then what? Well, they got other layers they want to do, and they be in charge of the layers, and we'll take care of the layering for you because we're the frosting on the cake. Trust us. Oh, Jeff Berwick, the Dollar Vigilante. More when we come back. Okay, this is the exact argument that I have with my son. He's all super geekified and got in, and he's mining and got his, whatevers and doing, and he's all, look at me. And I'm going, he'll, Dad, you don't understand. You're too old. You're gray. You don't understand. And I go to him recently. It was like, when was it? About a month or two ago, September. And I said, son, I don't think you understand. This is a philosophical battle. This isn't technical. Is not, blah, 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 blah. There's all kinds of technical stuff, it doesn't matter. Once you have the power into the hands of the people to technically be able to free themselves, guess what? It's a philosophical battle, and you're not allowed to be able to even think that way, much less do it. So I'm going, the technology has to preclude the centralization effort. This we rule you kind of thing. If it can't, it's the wrong tech. And whenever I'm at these conferences and I'm on any panel, well, let's see what the politician or the lawyer has to say. I'm like, whoa. If I have to give a shit what they say, it's the wrong tech. Comment on that comment, Mr. Berwick.
Oh, I totally agree, of course. But we are in sort of a time of transition here. There's a number of different cryptocurrencies all coming out. Ernie, thinking back like 10 years ago, we couldn't even have imagined Bitcoin. It hadn't even been an idea at that point. So we have to remember that as fast as things are happening, that we are still very, very early. So there's going to be a lot of things going on. As I pointed out, I've been surprised how easy it has been for the elites so far to slow down Bitcoin. But this is just battle one of a war that's going to go on for years and years. This war will never end until central bankings are obsolete and until they're off of the face of the earth. And that may never come as far as I know, but it will not. This war will not end until that happens. And so until that point, they have literally trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, like way more than that, actually, that's all been stolen from people, and people don't even know it. Even when Donald Rumsfeld announced that they're missing $2.3 trillion on September 10th, 2001, no one seemed to notice, no one seemed to care, especially after the accounting department of the Pentagram blew up the next day. But all that money gets siphoned off to these sort of people, and they have way more nefarious ways to siphon off money than that. So money is not an issue for them. So but one of the great things is that this isn't just about money. And as you pointed out, if these systems can be created to be in such a way that they cannot co-opt them, then there's not a lot they can do other than turn off the power or turn off the internet, which is also an option for them and will be an option for them if it gets serious enough. So most people have no idea what kind of a war is going on, and we're just in the early beginning of it. And what's going on with Bitcoin right now is just very early stages of that. And so what you've seen with Bitcoin Cash is a number of anarcho-capitalists who truly understand the importance of why this needs to happen. And it's not just about making it easier for people in Africa just to have a bank account, although that's great. This is much bigger than that. This is about taking away the power of the people who have been destroying the world and killing hundreds of millions of people now for centuries. And so a number of the people who understand that have decided in August to fork off with Bitcoin Cash, and people like Rick Falkvinge, Roger Ver. These are all people who come to Narcopoco. Myself, I've thrown my support behind Bitcoin Cash for that reason, and I have not sold my Bitcoin at this point because it's still too early to know what's going on. But this is sort of the Bitcoin that has a purpose, and that is to become used widely as a currency so that it can reduce the usage of Federal Reserve notes and all other fiat currencies, which will eventually take away some of their power. Whereas we have Bitcoin today, which it looks like at this moment in time, most of the key people seem to think that the goal of Bitcoin is to become digital gold, not digital cash, and it doesn't matter to them if it's expensive or it takes a while to use. And if that's the case, then it's not going to become a form of digital cash. And who knows, maybe it will become a form of digital gold. But that's also kind of sketchy. This whole thing is kind of sketchy right now. There's a lot of things to be concerned about. And there's also a lot going on, and there's so many other cryptocurrencies, of course, that answer a lot of these questions as well, things like Monero and Dash and many others. But this is just an ongoing war, and things change from day to day. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, that is the argument that it's digital gold. It's always they default to some kind of justification to justify why they're screwing you. Well, yeah, what do you want to do? Buy bubblegum? Damn, Skippy! That was the whole promise and point. As we were doing, it's obvious I'm being swindled here, man. They're doing the bait and switch, and Bitcoin was a bait and switch. Here we go. Well, the cryptography, the concept of blockchain and so on, allows for so many things. But I tell you what it mainly allows for, if you're a central banker, we rule you guy, is it allows for the ability for them to control everything. It doesn't matter if you have on the blockchain your title to your land if it went in wrong to begin with. Okay? I can attest to that when you do, kind of messed up transactions. But, the thing is that once it's in there, you're screwed. And this is exactly what happened. In Ecuador, you would have, or Honduras, I think it was Honduras. In Honduras, you have these landowners that had land for generation of its mine, and then who protects that? Who's going to protect the property rights there? I mean, you better have a bunch of rifles and friends or something, or the government does. Well, they go and look at the paperwork and they say, hey, man, what's his name over here? The coffee plantation guy says it's his, and I got paperwork. It's his. I guess it's not yours now. Well, if you go on the blockchain and do that, doesn't matter. If when the first time they put it on the blockchain, they make it not yours, it's not yours. So it's garbage in, garbage out kind of deal. So these are the kind of issues that we still got to worry about. But who would want to get in control and be at the desk and typing it in and processing that very transition from paper to blockchain? I guarantee those are going to be right there saying hello. So this is what we got to be concerned. Now, the currency, digital currency, was a little different. It was just created, had value because of its features, and the people determined it. Well, man, we can't allow that. We got to get in the middle of that. Well, then there's a lot of other alternatives coming on. Eventually, they'll get off DARPA's internet and go to space, with satellite networking, bite me. But it's still the interface. So where's the next target? It's going to be Shapeshift and other exchanges like that. They closed down China, exchanges, so it doesn't matter. I talked to Eric in Aspen, and he's going, we had a little uptick there. Yeah, I bet, So I can see where the points of contention is going to be. And it's going to be exchanges that deal in alternative currencies. So just like the IRS went after Swiss bank accounts, they're going to go after exchanges like Shapeshift if they can. Can they, Jeff?
Well, that's the thing. We really need to get everything completely decentralized. Anything that has centralization, anything that has its own servers, anything that has a CEO can be attacked by the government. The government, the only thing they can and always do is use violence. Whenever they say they ban something, they're using violence against those people. Whenever they say they've arrested some CEO, they're using violence against that CEO for whatever reason. It might be for a reasonable reason or not. Sometimes it isn't, though. And so they only can use violence. And this is what's beautiful about the digital age is if we can get things decentralized enough, then there's just nowhere to shut it down. That's why you can't shut down Bitcoin. There is no one place where there's Bitcoin. You can't arrest Bitcoin's CEO. Every time someone says they are Satoshi, a SWAT team's descend on his house. That's what's going to happen. That's all the government knows how to do. So the real key here, and as I pointed out earlier, it's still early, is we need to see the next wave of decentralization coming on. And we're starting to see that. We're starting to see a lot of people working on that stuff. I'm particularly excited about Dan Larimer's EOS or EOS. He completely understands. He's a 100% ANCAP. He says right on his blog, his whole goal in life is to make new systems that make violent systems obsolete. And he understands how to do that and what he needs to do that. And so he's building out his own sort of Ethereum type smart contract network, which is very focused on getting rid of government and central banks. So there's a lot going on. There's still a lot of hope, but we're in the middle of the battle now. They've woken up. The battle's on.
Yeah, no, this is on. And Patrick Byrne made this point. He goes, January 1, 16, right after that, all of a sudden they got the message that blockchain is going to be an existential event on central banking, and now they're trying to take it over. Okay, they want to be all buddies now. Why? Because they're going to go extinct. Yeah, I feel like I'm slipping into the Twilight Zone. It's always just, outquitted vibe, can I just be left aloneism? This has been my battle from the beginning. I just tell you, those that just want to be left alone and those that just won't leave them alone. It's no more complicated than that. So I'm looking for the leave me alonist technology and ability of, I grow my own food, I, educate my own children, I, purify my own water, I pump, I make my own power, I, whatever I want to do. And I can use my own money. Hell, I can make my own money. All right, cool. This is very empowering and exactly what we as humanity has been up against for freaking ever. So I just want to make sure that we all understand what this battle is really about. It's about your freedom, your autonomy, your individuality. I put my hand on your shoulder and I go, whose life is this? Well, if it's not yours, it's somebody else's. And as soon as you understand this philosophy, you can design programs and code and relationships and structure. I'm not against government. I'm against coercive government. And as soon as you can find one that's not coercive, let me know. But, that's the goal. If that's not the goal, then why am I messing around with you guys? So Bitcoin Cash kind of, more that way or not? Is it another one? Or they were just making fun of Bitcoin and showing the weaknesses of it? So I don't know. Jeff, help me out here. Bitcoin Cash is, I don't see anything. It is Bitcoin. Hell, Bitcoin's dead. It went SegWit and Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin was back there somewhere. So now we got, and they'll keep splitting or splitting over here or whatever. And I'm going, All right. Are we going to be free there, or is there something else we're doing?
Well, back in August, a lot of people say that the fork was Bitcoin Cash forked Bitcoin, but in many ways, SegWit forked Bitcoin. In many ways, the Bitcoin that we know today has been changed dramatically without all of our consent necessarily, and Bitcoin Cash actually stuck with the way that Bitcoin was in the past, and it just improved upon it. When it became slower, as more people started to use it, it just increased the block size from 1 megabit to 8 megabit. 1 megabit is, I'm from like the 80s. I was a computer nerd back in the 80s. I remember what those big floppy disks, it was about a 1 megabit on that floppy disk. And what the Bitcoin Core people are saying is they can't increase that to 2 megabit. That's too much. It creates too much risk for the network. That does not make any sense to me.
I just feel like I'm being bullshitted. And I'm going, look, it's been 8 years, at least 8 years, and the bandwidth has increased. Computers have gotten more powerful. Heck, my laptop here kicks the crap out of any PC that I've ever had. I'm going, what the hell are they talking about? 2, 8, or hell, gig. I mean, what? Explain that to me, Jeff. What are they talking about?
Well, I'm not a total techie. I was a techie back in the 80s. I was one of the first hackers on Apple II Plus computers and stuff like that, but I'm not anymore, so I can't speak to exact technical details, but I have heard what they've had to say on it. And they say things like, if we increase it to 2 megabits, it's too risky for the network. And it's like, how is that even possible? 1 megabit to 2 megabit, that's nothing. And Bitcoin Cash has shown by increasing to 8 megabits, all it did was reduce the fees dramatically and the time spent transacting for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin Cash has already proven that all you needed to do was just increase the block size, and then the expense goes down dramatically. I think the average I saw, like it's a few pennies again on Bitcoin Cash, whereas you look at Bitcoin, I'm still spending $10, $20. Once you get much over $20, it's basically the same as a bank wire transfer. So in many ways, this fork was it was actually Bitcoin SegWit that actually forked Bitcoin. And so this gets into, what is Bitcoin and all that sort of a thing. But I trust, or I believe what Bitcoin Cash people are saying much more than what I'm hearing from the Bitcoin Core people, who have outright said, I've seen tweets and quotes where they say, if we can get Bitcoin transaction fees up to $100, it will, by the year 2025, it will have proven that what a wonderful success Bitcoin is. Like these people don't understand economics. They don't understand anything about money or marketing or
They're
anything like that.
They're regurgitating what somebody is telling them. And Tone Vase, I consider a good friend, and he comes and stays here every now and then, but we are on totally different sides on this issue. He's like, well, what do you want it to be? Bubblegum money? Well, hell yeah! That was the promise, you lying sacks of snot over at Bitcoin Core of whatever. They're going, no, to be successful, it has to be billion-dollar transactions or something. I'm going, what happened to microtransactions? I mean, that was what I saw the difference in. This is my, in Aspen, I made this presentation, and Roger commented on, he appreciated what I had to say. And basically it was this. When you're in the deepest, darkest Congo, Africa, if I'm a kid doing whatever, and you make widgets, or you're a farmer of lettuce in, Central America, if I did and make and grow and produce and whatever it is, all of a sudden, you don't need to have a retina scan or anything to have a bank account. You have an account, and you say, you transfer this to me, and I transfer this to you, and it's the mail, Amazon, of whatever the hell. Boom, done. Or their version of Amazon, FedEx. That brings everybody into the market. And it also gives them, as they become wider players, to have an opinion that can be expressed with a quarter. What happens when crowdfunding goes to, like, build the ship, or save this guy, or Ross Ulbricht, or I want a bridge, or all of a sudden government becomes the will of the people of, yeah, I'll throw 50 cents on that. You want to go to the moon? You want a landing on the moon? Let me tell you how you do it. You crash land a satellite there with a titanium private, Bitcoin key in there, and you convince everybody you did. See, look, I'm loading it in, and boom. And then people just send quarters. And all of a sudden it gets to, $100 million, $200 million. Guess what we're doing? I'm going to go get that freaking thing. You see, it's just incentives. But if it costs you $10 to send and vote a quarter for a microtransaction, you're not doing it. I need microtransactions. I need Watch My Bit where I can just click it and 10 cents gets dispersed to all the content suppliers and you're done. These are the things that I was really looking forward to. And they snatched it away so that they can control it. And they, then those that won't leave me alone, the same people, Bilderberg and central banking doing can make money. And I had gone, nope, this too shall pass because we have alternatives, I hope. Do we, Jeff?
Well, absolutely. This is really an amazing opportunity, actually, if you think about it. If Bitcoin really has been wrestled away from being sort of a microtransaction sort of a platform, that means there's going to have to be another cryptocurrency that takes its place because we do live in the digital age. And if there is another cryptocurrency that can take that place and has really, really cheap transactions that can do them really fast, that is going to become absolutely massive. That could actually become a lot bigger than Bitcoin now because of it. So in the running for it, and I'm putting out a newsletter to Dollar Vigilante subscribers right now talking about this, and you can subscribe at dollarvigilante.com/subscribe, is Bitcoin Cash, of course, and I put in the newsletter why I think that one has the advantage at this moment in time. There's also Dash, which I actually recommended at $2 in 2016, January. It's now $555. It's been rising dramatically.
Holy
it's actually
crap.
up 10% today. There's also Monero, which actually we both really love because of its massive privacy things. That Monero is really sort of like the perfect currency as far as we're concerned. But the problem is that your average public person doesn't care about what we care about as much. But Monero even today is up 10%. It's up over $150. I think I recommended it around $1 or $2 as well. So these are the what's going on. So if Bitcoin is really not going to become what we thought it was, then something else will. So this is the opportunity. Bitcoin Cash currently has a $20 billion market cap. Dash only has a $4 billion market cap. Oh, I should mention also, I kind of like Litecoin here as well, $3 billion market cap. So we could see a lot of these going up, 10 times in value if this is what's really going on. And so in many ways, this is also an opportunity, as much as it is a negative that they may have wrestled away Bitcoin from its original vision. There will still be something that will incorporate that vision and will be successful. So maybe we have another second chance at it right now with some of these other currencies.
Yeah, no, we needed this lesson. And I was, experienced enough to know if they can, they will. If they aren't, already are. I mean, if they can. Well, they would have to, and that's what they're going to do. What are you talking about? They need more like computing power or something? I mean, God, you guys, you're killing me. So this is what's happening. We can see that, yes, exactly what a lot of us were concerned about is happening right, not later. So what's the alternative? It's a philosophical thing. Can Bitcoin Cash do it? I don't know, but I'm seeing the same problem. It's going to, be, if it got some arbitrary limit on volume, you're going to have an artificial influence on fees sooner or later. Do they increase it? Is there a technical problem with that? And then they threaten, but if you increase the block size, then it's not secure enough to go and show me. Well, they haven't showed me. So I don't know what to do. Saying, I don't have a problem buying silver though, I can tell you that. So I'm going, all right, because that's going to be manipulated all the hell. Will Bitcoin shoot up? Probably. Why? Because those want it to. So you keep one of them, and then you vote with your money getting others.